Everyone, and welcome to another video. And today we're going to be talking about redartgames physical releases. A lot of you guys probably don't notice, but as of right now, redartgames is having a summer sale for a lot of their games are like almost half off. So this is going to be a video on some indie releases I purchased from them. I think you guys will definitely enjoy this video. You'll find a lot of cool games, even some hidden gems. Here's Catmaze. So this is an adventure game that I want to say is somewhat story driven, at least in the beginning, where you see the life of the main character played out until she's 16 years old. From that point on, you're pretty much starting the game trying to help your mother because she's sick and you want to find an item for her, and the game starts from that point on. What's really cool about this game is that if you get lost, there's always a cat. That if you find the cat, you'll know where to go. You'll know you're going into a new area, at least one that you're going into to advance the story. Now, I gotta be honest, I knew I was gonna like this game immediately when I saw how it looked. I love pixelated games. The backgrounds for each section you go to is well drawn out, and the level design is as well balanced out where they place enemies at. It's not too easy, but it's not very difficult at the same time. Now, during the game, you'll be able to buy potions and upgrades to kind of help you during the adventure. Besides key items, these items will help you like progress through the game easier, such as building up your strength, your defense, stuff like that. You also have your melee and magic attacks. Melee attacks you could do at any time, but magic attacks take up SP, so use them sparingly. Catmaze is a lot of fun, and I think that anybody who enjoys a good adventure game will definitely want to pick this up. It doesn't feel generic at all. It really feels fleshed out and fun. Here's Revita. It seems like this game's been out for quite a few years now. I finally got a physical release. Now, this game is kind of weird. It's more like it's randomized like every time you play it. Now, you go through 13 levels. You're climbing this tower. The 12th or 13th level is usually where you fight the boss at. And the levels are pretty randomized how you go through them. So it'll be kind of different every time you play it, or just depending on what door you go through to enter the next area. You never know where you're going to end up at. But it's actually pretty fun. I'm just not very good at it right now. I was struggling with the first boss, so I gotta increase my skills on it. But the game has a lot of potential and it's pretty fun. So I'm looking forward to playing this in the future. We have Arietta of Spirits. This is a good one, you guys. What makes this game stands out from the rest is that it has a modern, deep story. You play as a girl named Arietta who goes on a family trip, and basically some issues happen where she's trying to come to grips with certain situations. So I could go over the first thing, so it's not really too much of a spoiler, but the first story is that her grandmother passed away, and usually they would go to on vacation with their grandmother. So this is the first time she's dealing with that situation. The story to this whole game is pretty, I want to say, heartwarming and sad at the same time. You know, there's certain situations that are like, man, it almost brought a tear to my eye. But gameplay wise, it is definitely feels like a Link to the Past. And I know that's a lot of people's favorite Zelda game, and this game to me is way better than that. I know that's saying a lot, but I'm going to put it out there. So if you want an action adventure game with a good story, definitely check out Arietta of Spirits. I haven't talked enough about this game, and I'll probably talk about it in the future. Maybe I'll do a review on it. So here's Mayhem Brawlers. I didn't know about this game until my buddy Kyle hooked me up with this game. So pretty much this is like a precursor to like, well, it feels like it's a prototype for Streets of Rage 4. I feel like the same people worked on this game. But this game you play as cops, and I like this game a lot because you can kind of choose your path where you go on the next level. So and it has this comic book style that kind of keeps you hooked to it. But the game suffers from online play. Unfortunately, there's no online play. So I wish they would have came up with a AI partner to help you out during the game, kind of like Final Fight 3. But it doesn't have that. But the game is story driven, and I still think it's well done. So Mayhem Brawlers is definitely something I would say you guys should pick up.
Looks like it's time for buy a donut, get a free coffee.
Alright, so next up is Cathedral. Now, when you first see this game, you're going to pretty much think of an NES game. Kind of like an action-adventure game. Very similar to something like DuckTales or even something like a Metroid type game. Now, I didn't see too much story when I was playing this game, but it seems like you're playing as a knight who's trying to regain his memories. So I think most retro gamers will appreciate the gameplay and also the chiptune soundtrack, which is well done. Got some catchy music in here. I couldn't help but notice though, while I was playing the game, I really felt like this game is kind of nostalgic to DuckTales. Here's Vernal Edge. Yes, this is another Metroidvania type game, and this one kind of stands out a little bit, I would say. I'll just say this, the only thing I didn't really like about this game is some of the story in it. The story can be kind of weird sometimes, but maybe we'll talk about that in another video. But as far as the platforming and things like that, it's well done. Sometimes it could be a kind of difficult, I would say. The puzzles can be annoying. But if you get past all that, you got a solid game here, I would say. I'm about a quarter way through it, but I might do a review on this a little bit later after I finish the game, so we'll see. But anyways, guys, if you like what you're seeing here, it might be one you want to check out. Now here is Patobox. Now this game is black and white, but don't let that take anything away from the game. This is, I hate to say this, but it's more like a Mike Tyson's Punch-Out clone, or just a Punch-Out in general clone. And it's actually pretty fun. I thought it was pretty tough at first until I got used to things. But man, this game is pretty wild, and I think a lot of people will like this one. This is what I would call a hidden gem, or just more of something unique. The fighters in the game have some crazy moves, so you really have to be prepared for anything in this game. And patterns usually go from, like, I would say each character has about 5 different patterns that you have to kind of remember, but it always seems randomized, like how it plays out, so always be on your toes. But anyways, if you're into games like Wade Hickson's Counter Punch, Mike Tyson's Punch Out, Super Punch Out, all that stuff, you'll definitely like this game. Here's Fantavision 2020X. This is a kind of like a remake of the PS2 game. So pretty much you just do like combinations of fireworks blowing up. It looks really nice, but this is more of a game that I don't know, I would watch somebody else play probably. You can play the game in VR too now, so there's that. You know, that's probably a good experience. I wish I could experience it like that, but I'm not dropping no money on a PlayStation VR 2, no way. But anyways, I think there's some fun to be had here, just depending on what your definition of fun is.
12 kings, Very good. Star.
Adjust your centrifugation numbers.
5 chains.
I think that we should try this room. Strong. One for
Star.
land produce what
Energy up. 2 easy. 10 chains.
Alright, so here is Sword of the Vagrant. This game has been out quite a while, I think. I think it's been out for a couple years now, but they got a physical release. And of course, you guys know I'm happy about that. Now, the first thing I thought when I looked at this game, I hate to say this, but Odin's Sphere comes to mind. You know, the art style and everything like that. Now, there's nothing wrong with that, but for those of you guys that are looking for Odin's Sphere on the Switch, this is the next best thing. Now, you play as a character named Vivian, and she's in a shipwreck, and she ends up on this island. Now, she's trying to avenge a situation with her family, but she ends up in this quest, like going through castle, crazy forests, meeting new friends, and so on. Now, I'm not gonna lie, I was already impressed with this game when I saw the graphical style, but the gameplay and the story are very well done. Now, the game is not that long. You know, I would say it's probably around 10, 11 hours, depending on how you play it, if you're not trying to rush through it. But the game will definitely suck you in, especially since it's kind of using that vanillaware format with the art style and even the gameplay. So, if you guys see this one out there in the wild, you know what to do. Here is Shinorubi. This is a vertical shoot 'em up game. And this one kind of blew me away because I wasn't expecting like how vividly wild this game is. But I picked my ship out, and one thing about this game that you need to know is that there's 2 shots. You know, there's a spread attack and then there's a direct attack. Like the spread attack you're going to be using all the time in this game because enemies are coming at you from so many different angles and they're relentless. But it's fun taking them out and getting the score point rewards for it. Now, though the game looks great, you know, sometimes I feel like some of the enemies could kind of blend in. You can't really see everything on the screen unless you're really like looking hard sometimes. Maybe that's just the first couple of levels for me. I don't know. I haven't finished the game all the way through yet, but the first couple of levels seem like some things kind of blended in too much. But other than that, this game is great. And I know a lot of you physical collectors, you know, like when it comes to shoot 'em ups, I feel like we're lucky to get them in physical format. So this is definitely one of the games that's worth having a physical for. Definitely check it out. Here are the 2 Skautfold games. I'm going to start off with Shrouded Insanity. This one, though I hate to say it, it was pretty brutal for me. This is a roguelike game, and it looks great graphically, but the combat is just, in the beginning, it's just too brutal. At least it was for me. The game's kind of dark, so you want to use your flashlight when you can. You automatically get a flashlight at the beginning of the game, and it's optional to use, but I would want to think people want to use it all the time because the beginning of the game is pretty dark, and I don't know if the whole game is like that throughout. But yeah, definitely use your flashlight in the beginning when you can remember it, because some of these enemies, before I could even think about using my flashlight, they were on me and their attacks took so much damage from me. Like, so like, wow, dude, like I didn't have time to like think about switching it on. But the flashlight won't save you for the crazy enemies. Knowing how to defend yourself and attack is what's going to get you through this game, because you have a stamina meter, so you can't just like go crazily slash your enemies. You have your normal attack and your strong attack, but they do take stamina, so know how to use them sparingly. But I ended up putting the game down for now because it was just too brutal in the beginning for me. I may come back to it, but yeah, I just got to figure things out with this one. But if you like what you're seeing here, it might be a buy for you. Alright, so now we have Skautfold Usurper. So this one I was excited about because I felt like this was going to be like the Castlevania type game. You know, and it is, but more so in the adventure aspect. Gameplay wise, I mean, this feels like a roguelike game, so it feels like you're going to be getting killed a lot. Or, you know, feels like a Dark Souls game in a way. I don't know. This one is a bit tough, but it definitely seems like it's more my style than the other game. But I feel like once I get a little bit further, this game is going to start to cook. So I'm looking forward to that. But those of you that have played this game, please let me know what you think about this one, if it's worth playing all the way through. I'd love to hear your opinions about it. Here's Milli Greg. So this is a platform game that consists of 100 levels, of course, each getting harder and harder. The first level, very easy, very simplistic, anybody can get through it. But as you go through it, it starts to get tougher. Now this is one of those games that actually tests your platform skills, so it gives you a good start, you know, gets you a good feel for the game, and then it gets a lot more difficult. Now I think this is a solid game for people who want to get into platformers, or just in general, just get good at them. The goal of each level is to get to your cat, which is Greg, which in the title, of course. And you have a dash attack that kind of help you give you momentum for certain jumps and just dash moves. But the other option you have in this game is to kind of like, for bragging rights, I guess, is to get the optional fruit. Sometimes it's worth getting, sometimes it's not. You know, sometimes most of the time I go for the exit because, you know, sometimes just going for that fruit will mess you up, your momentum. But anyways, guys, if you like what you're seeing here, give this game a go. Here's Galaxy of Pen and Paper. Now, if you think you've heard of this game, you probably have, because it has a precursor game called Knights of Pen and Paper, which I played back in the day. So this is a turn-based RPG where you create your characters. Now, I created my characters in this game, and the game is cool. Graphically, it looks great. The music is fantastic, but it didn't really pull me in like I wanted it to. Not saying it's a bad game or anything like that. Like, it's actually pretty good, but for some reason, it just couldn't grab me. So, you know, I kind of put it down. Maybe I'll pick it back up soon. I do feel like this game has a lot of potential for me, but for some reason, I just couldn't get into it. That's the thing about RPG games. Like, for me, nowadays, they really have to hook you in the beginning. If that hook comes later, you know, I might not finish the game. You know, remember back in the day how they used to tell us all the game gets better and everything like that? Some people just don't have time for that. But anyways, guys, if you have played this, let me know how you feel about it.
Mr. Kent losing his towel. I like this character, by the way. Try to be nice to him.
Otherwise, who knows what terrors may befall you? The blue energy form dissipates after giving you this cryptic advice.
You're ambushed by a bunch of sand raiders. You need to roll at least a 17.
The spaceship blasts off.
Let me check that
And you level up.
rule. You land a critical.
Here's Jet and Guns Part 2. This is a horizontal shooter that I felt like it started off a bit slow, but man, it did pick up. Now, the thing about this game is that it's fun, but man, everything is shooting at you like crazy. There's ground troops coming at you, and it seems like they got a dead beat on you, and then you got to worry about the planes in the skies that are shooting at you. I think Jason did a video on this game, and I think he really enjoyed it. I enjoyed it too, but I like for like these type of games not to really have like an item system where you equip like items to your ship to make it more powerful. I just like stuff to be available on the screen so you get upgrades while you're playing it. But the game's more in-depth than most shoot 'em ups, so just be aware of that. So there's a reason it got a sequel, right? But anyways, guys, let me know what you think about it. Here is Jubilee. Now, this is a good-looking platform game, but this is an extreme platform game that I just didn't have the patience for all the way. You know, I may come back to it, but it gives you that challenge level of like something like Celeste. So you're constantly on edge. Like, levels get very difficult in the beginning, at least for me. Some people, it may be easy for some people. For me, it was just rough. I was like, damn, this is a good game, but I'm just not good at it. But this is definitely a good game for people who like old school extreme platform games. So if you like that type of genre, definitely you could play this one. Here's Lacuna. This is a detective adventure game where you're trying to solve the murder of a politician. There's some crazy events that happen in the beginning of the game too that I don't really want to spoil for you guys. But this game is actually pretty cool. The environments and world like really stick out, and I'm very impressed with how they put everything together in this game. I like that as you play the game, the main character, his voiceover will take over on certain parts of what he's thinking about or what he thinks about the future. Things like that really stuck out to me. I'm hoping the game will keep me hooked until the end. I think it will. I looked at some reviews for it too. It seems like it's highly praised. So I think the game will be enjoyable all the way to the end. Here's Omegabot. Don't really have much to say about this one. You know, the only thing that sticks out is obviously this is a running gun shooter, but the gimmick in this game is that you kind of use your gun, the recoil, to get to certain like platforms. So I thought that was pretty cool that they added that effect in. But you can't just like shoot your gun all the way because it has a meter where it overheats, so you have to be careful of that. Your gun also recoils, so be careful if you're standing on a ledge because you will shoot yourself right off of it if you're not careful. But definitely something interesting I would say here. Let me know if you guys have played this one. Nuclear Blaze. This is probably my favorite game on the list. Now you play as a fighter, and there's like a series of fires going on throughout the city. You're kind of like discovering what's going on. So first off, you're dropped off in a situation where you meet up with your other current fighters. They're putting out fires themselves, and as you go on in the game, you find out that there's more fires going on in a laboratory. Now, you're dealing with all kind of fire situations, you know, backdrafts, which you have to be very careful of in this game, blowing stuff up, electricity, all kind of like crazy hazards that you have to be careful of. I'm very impressed with what I've seen from the game so far. And the game, I'm telling you guys, it really pulls you in. Like, I couldn't put it down. Like, I was just wanting to see what happens next in this game. And, you know, it's kind of crazy because I think about this. Like, I feel like a fireman is one of the hardest jobs in the world. I mean, you gotta be something fierce to like, that intense heat will drive you crazy, even in a suit. So, but anyways, guys, definitely a fun game to try out. One of my top recommended. Kingdom of Arcadia. This is another one of my favorites from this list. I had a blast playing this game, and it's one of those games that's short and sweet, but I do want to give you guys a little bit of the story, but I think my buddy Joel can give you a better introduction for the story mode.
The story goes like this. You play Sam. Sam's a video gamer, and so is his geeky dad. But guess what? His dad has this retro arcade cabinet. He says, don't worry, one day you're gonna play it, but you can't wait because you're a spoiled kid. You decide to play it, and you get sucked into the arcade cabinet, and you go to the land called Arcadia, and you have to save the land from this evil monster.
Haha, Joe Valley Media Glitch, always keeping us laced up, guys. But yeah, the game is pretty simple where you just clear out dungeons, you fight a boss, you do upgrades, of course. You want to make sure you upgrade in this game because you don't want to get like hurt on the boss because they'll take a lot of damage if you're not upgrading your weapons and your life properly. But good news, all that stuff is easy to do. Now, if you want to know more about this game, Joel did an in-depth review on it, so I'll link that right now in the video because if I don't, Joel's going to give me a hard time, and I don't want that. But definitely an awesome game, guys. I feel like it's a must-have, and it has an easy trophy system for you trophy hunters. And here is Promenade. This is a cool platform game that really has a nice looking art style to it. I don't know if I should call this a puzzle platformer. It's somewhat of a puzzle platformer because I got stuck on a couple areas in the game. Areas that were pretty simple, mind you. But once I figured it out, the great pacing in this game continued. Now, even though this game is a 2D platformer, it really takes a lot of styles from 3D platformers. You could probably already see that with the art style and the gameplay. Now, you go across a bunch of different worlds, but to get to them, you have to collect these cogs. You fight bosses, go through dungeons, all that stuff. But I think what's going to pull a lot of people in this is that you're going on a simple adventure that's going to be a great time for anybody who tries it. Alright guys, hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know if you're picking up any of these games from Red Art during their sale. I'd love to know what games interested you in the video. But anyways guys, that's all I got for you. The Radical One, and I will see you all later.